Welcome back to the farmstead. We're glad you're here. Today, we are making a bunch of splits. It's that time of year. The flowers are going crazy. The locust is just getting in bloom. The apples have been blossoming and it's been absolutely gorgeous. There's been a lot of pollen and a lot of nectar coming in. And this is about the time of year where you can almost do no wrong. So this is the queen here. There's no attendants on the inside, just the queen. And you'll notice that blue dot. And you might be thinking, well, why do you have a blue dot queen? Well, these queens are special. These queens were grafted by Chris Werner for Bob Binnie using Bob Binnie stock. And these were last year's queens. I had the honor and privilege of working with Bob for a week, going through all the hives, and Bob religiously requeens every single year. That worked out great for me because I could take advantage of having really high quality genetics that also overwintered and bring those into our yard to further improve and create some diversity with our genetics. So now we'll have these Southern Appalachian genetics mixed up with our Northern Appalachian genetics, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what kind of mutt bees these produce. So now we're going to be introducing Caucasian Carniolan along with still some slight Italian genes in there, and I'm really excited about that. So today what we're doing, we've actually already split a lot of these hives already once earlier in the year, and now it's time for a second split. We're going to be building Nucs that we're selling at the same time. So we're going to go through these hives, we're going to cherry pick and find the nicest 5 frames, and those are going to stay in a box, and those are going to be ready for a Nuc sale. And then the other frames are going to get moved off into a split where we're going to get those queen right. We have a lot of different configurations here. We've got 3 framers, 5 framers, mediums, deeps. We have some 8 framers. We have some 10 framers. Which one is the best? Well, you know, it depends. What are you trying to do? What context are you working in? And what are your goals here in the bee yard? We're selling medium and deep Nucs, so we're running a little bit of both. And if you notice, we've got a deep box over a medium. We've got medium boxes over deeps. It all kind of depends on what we kind of need and kind of where we want to see our bee yard grow into. So what we do is we have a different configuration for kind of some different purposes. There's a lot going on here in this small yard. So we're trying to make the most of our bee resources, but more importantly, make the most of the current timing with the pollen and the nectar. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go through this hive and we're going to split this down. This is going to be a very, very conservative split. Typically, we can make a 1-frame split, a 1.5 frame split, and it'd be just fine this time of year. But right now, and maybe just like you, I'm just about out of equipment. I'm short on bottom boards, I'm short on lids, I'm short on boxes. I can't seem to get frames assembled fast enough. So rather than split this box, which is 10 frames, I could split this out 5 ways today. Rather than do that, I'm just going to split it out twice and let those build back up. That's going to give me a chance to get busy grafting and get some more queen cells. I'm behind there too. So I'm sure you know the drill. No matter what you do, it always feels like we're behind in the bee yard, and all you can do is the best you can do right here in the moment. So rather than get all anxious and uptight and kind of get that paralysis by analysis, we're just going to do the best we can. So we're going to make some pretty conservative splits and kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and get our bucket feeder off. And there's still just a little bit in there, which tells me that they've been busy on natural sources, and they're not really even finishing up what I've given them. So I love that. So we're going to go ahead and just going to give them a little puff. So that's already a really good looking box already. I'm going to be excited to see what's on the inside. Now as I look down through the frames here, I can kind of see how wide the wax is coming off these top bars. So I kind of can get a good idea of what they're doing. Now you'll notice a P and a W. We're kind of running some trials here to see how Premier's plastic waxed foundation does versus just a straight waxed foundation that we've used in the past. So I'm going to be excited, and you'll see it here at the same time I do what the bees are doing with these. So we're going to go ahead and pull this outside frame. And man, they're doing pretty good. This is a wax sheet on the outside wall. They're doing really good. Well, I like to see that. I love dark drones. Okay, so this frame looks great. There's a lot of brood. Everything's capped. Now I'm going to double check and just kind of see what's on the frame. I'm also going to look for the queen, because these have some new queens in it from this year that may or may not be marked. I haven't gotten around to marking everything, so we're going to look and do everything all at once. So we're going to be finding queens, making sure they're marked, making nukes, making splits, and just checking on overall hive health. And they're looking great. Okay, so we're going to pull out this next frame that's just wax. See how they're doing. They're doing pretty good. I can see day-old eggs in here, so that tells me I've got a queen. If this was just a regular inspection, I wouldn't really need to go any further. I've got eggs, I'm good to go. Make sure I don't have any cells, put everything back, no sense wasting time. But today we're making splits, so we really do want to find that queen. Typically, we're always going to find the queen on the freshest waxed, and we're also going to, wherever we have day-old eggs, that's where we're going to see her. Now, of course, she can go on a rumspringer and she can go lollygagging around the hive. That can definitely happen, but by and large, for the most part, that's typically where I find her. I'm going to take this and just put it right back in the box. Keep everybody happy. Now, this frame here is a frame of Premier foundation. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, it feels heavy. Oh, they're doing fantastic. Now, they've actually got this one drawn and filled out a lot more than the wax one. It's a lot heavier too. I would definitely say it looks like the bees are doing a great job on this Premier. Let's look at this side. Well, I don't think we're going to find her on this frame for a couple reasons. Number one, everything is pretty much all capped off. Any available areas on the top part of the brood is already full of nectar. So what business would she really have on this frame? Well, if she's out of room and just running around, we could find her there. But I don't see any day-old eggs on this frame, so that tells me they've filled this Premier out first, and then they've moved out either side in the box and started working on that wax. Let's take a look here. They are really doing good on that plastic. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised. I was kind of expecting them not to do much with the plastic, but I've had really bad luck with plastic in the past. But I will say this foundation smells so amazing when you pull it out of the box. Okay, so they're working on that side. All right, put that one back. And then this frame here is on the complete outside, and they're also starting to draw that out. So this is a beautiful box. Now what I'm probably going to do is right now, as it sits, this box here would make a gorgeous split. With this many bees, this is way more bees than I need for a split. But I'm out of equipment at the moment, so this would easily make, this box right here would easily make 4 splits. Okay, so we're going to put that back. Now, I wanted to see the difference between the Premier and the wax, and yeah, they're definitely drawing the wax out. They're doing a great job on the wax. But they are also doing a fantastic job on the Premier, and it seems like they're doing a Premier, they're out a little bit further by, I don't know, 3 or 4 days at least, it looks like, on getting that drawn out first. Now, there is a cool trick on finding a queen without trying to go through each and every one of these frames. When you have 2 boxes like this, you can simply just take a box off and then set the box down next to itself. Now you have 2 boxes of bees. Okay? What we're going to do is just put a puff of smoke right between them. Oh, you know what? I forgot. My wife, she keeps getting after me for working these bees without a jacket or a veil. And she has some events for us to get to later on this week. I'm going to grab a veil just in case, because they are all up in my business. And if I come home with a closed eye again, that's going to be some cold sheets for too long. So I'll be right back. So we'll look inside those 2 boxes and we're going to listen. Now this box on this side, they kind of have a little bit of a roar, and this box here is completely quiet. So my money is the queen is in this bottom box. So let's see what we have going on here. I'm going to clean up that burr comb over here. Now when I work in a box like this, I like to push all my frames to one side all together, and then I can put my hive tool away and I can start pulling out frames. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of capped brood. I'm seeing all stages of larvae inside of here. If we look, we can see, can you see the larvae there too? We have our capped, sealed off brood here. And look at all the colors. I love the mix of dark and light and everything in between. It's gorgeous. So I'll take a look at this side. They're busy today, bringing in some pollen, you see. Now, I really like these medium frames. Medium nucs are getting more and more popular for folks that maybe don't want to lift so much weight. I like them because you can get the whole snapshot really quick. If you're finding queens, it's really nice. And I really like mating queens in mediums. It's nothing against mini mating frames and everything, but I just like to have the same frame that can go in every single box. And also, when we're mating queens in these medium frames, I feel like it gives us a little bit longer time to kind of judge a queen. Make sure she is a good quality proven queen before we ship her out, or people pick them up, or we put them in nucs. There's a waggle dance. Isn't that cool? She's telling everybody else where the goodies are. So amazing. See her? It's on today. Boy, they're going to be happy bees. I'm seeing a lot of fresh nectar coming in. One thing I'm also seeing is as soon as these, right here is a great example. This is something that you got to really keep an eye on if you're crowding bees and making nucs. So we have, this is all a capped brood that's going to be emerging soon. But you see, as soon as the capped brood emerges, see what they're doing? They're backfilling with nectar. Now you got to keep your eye on that, because you can really quick have a colony that can get honey bound. There's no place for the queen to lay, and then very often I'll get calls from folks and saying, my hive is calm, they're so busy, they're full of nectar, but I don't see any eggs and I'm worried about the queen. Well, there's a simple way we can fix that. We can just move some frames around, give her some drawn comb down in that brood chamber, move some honey up, some fresh frames down, give her a place to lay. Look at that. That's a beautiful color drone. Everything from golden to orange to black. I love that. We are just going to pinch off a little bit of this burr comb. We don't want them to get any other ideas. They're looking great. They're absolutely looking fantastic. It's a great one too. You can see exactly what we're talking about. As they hatch, she starts to lay, and you can see the larva amidst all of the nectar. And it's this the time of year where you really got to be on your game. You really got to be on top of it. You see the queen? Looking great. So I've already got her marked, so that's excellent. So now what I'm going to do is, I know where my queen is. That's the most important thing. Our queen is on this frame. We're going to put her right back in this box. But she's going to need a little bit of room to lay, so I'm going to double check. This nuc here is going to sell later on this week. They've got tons of brood. They're backfilling with nectar, but she has enough room here to start laying. So I feel really good about that. That's all drawn out. All right, that's looking good. So I'm actually gonna put that one right next to the queen. She'll start laying that up. She'll move right over today and probably have that laid up. So this nuc is full of cat brood, all stages of larva, nectar. They even have some of that nectar capped off as honey. So this nuc right here is beautifully ready to go. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and move this. We're gonna go ahead and we might as well just put the lid back on. I'm gonna put the lid on. I'm also gonna go ahead and just put a little white dot down here. That way I know what year queen it is before I even get in there. Now we're gonna take this box and we're just gonna move it. I had that ready for a split, but we're just gonna put this here in its place. All right, and in the meantime, I'm gonna take this bottom and this top back over to this stand. I'm gonna give it a bottom board. Gonna give it a box full of bees. All right, we're gonna put our lid on. Now, we have a way of marking our box so that we know what's going on before we even look into it. I'm gonna leave this lid upside down. A lid upside down lets me know that it needs a queen. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put today's date, okay, with no dot. Just the date lets me know that I made this split on the 18th. When I come back and put a queen in or a cell, I'll adjust that accordingly. So it's really that easy. We had a colony that we've already split out once this year. It made a very conservative split earlier in the year. We added a box on top. We added a deep over top of the medium. Now, what happened is all the bees started working up both boxes and got that top deep just plumb full, absolutely jamming. We found the queen. She was in that bottom medium box. We took the queen in the colony that she was in, moved her to a new location on a new stand in the same bee yard. Now what we did is left that top deep box that has no queen, just the field force, the workers, things like that, and we're gonna leave that right here in the exact original location. What I'll probably do is put a queen cell in, add a medium box on top of here, 5 more frames, and do the same thing. And we can repeat this over and over and over again, clear until about the 1st of July easily, and keep making a lot of bees this way. There's something about raising bees in 5-frame boxes, they just do so well. I'm not sure what it is. They almost get demoralized if you put them in a large box with few bees to start with. But if you put few bees in a smaller box, there's just something about the vibe of that hive. They just go to town and it seems to work out really good. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the splits that we made a couple days ago. We're gonna go open up the entrances, let them kind of orient. Now, the reason that we did that, we had some hives that when we went to split them down, like we just saw in this box here, that we made 3 and 4 splits out of this configuration. So not every single split can go back to its original location. So we have queenless splits spread out throughout the yard here. Now what's gonna happen if we just move those boxes to a new stand here in the same yard and open their entrance, they're all gonna fly back to this original location. So we wouldn't wanna drop a queen cell in there right away in all those boxes, because most of the time, at least here and from what I've seen, those bees are gonna wanna fly back soon. So when if we are gonna break this down, there's 10 frames here. If we did break this out into 5 splits, only 1 box is gonna stay in this original location. Everything else is gonna be out on a new stand, a new location. So what we do is we close that entrance. That's where the beauty of those dials come in. We can close it down as long as they have food and plenty to eat and they're ventilated. If you've noticed, all of our boxes are ventilated off the back as well. So we can close them off. They're gonna stay cool. They're gonna stay fed. We've actually kept them closed for 2 days this time of year. And today we're gonna go in and open them and start introducing some really special queens. So here's a couple splits. The split here on the right has no queen. It's been queenless for about 2 days, and we're gonna introduce some of these Bob Binnie Southern Appalachian queens. And then this box here, we've already made the split. And we've already added the queen about 2 days ago. Now we're always experimenting to try to see how fast we can get a queen to take and what those results might be. On this box, when we made the split and introduced the queen, we actually closed down the entrance. So let's go ahead and open the entrance, let them orient, and then I'm going to take a look and see how they're doing with that queen. I really like these dials for this kind of thing because you can really close them up, open them up, choke them down, move boxes around. It's really handy in a yard like ours where we might be making splits and making queens in the same yard with our resource hives. It really helps us control the flow of the bees. If we were moving all these splits out to different out yards, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But we're trying to do a lot on a smaller piece or a smaller bee yard here. And so those dials are kind of handy. So we're going to let them orient. Let's take a look at this box here. Let's go ahead and add one of these queens. Take our feeder bucket off. Yeah, they're just hanging out. They're looking good. All the bees stayed put. That's good. Just going to take a look here. What I am going to do is I'm going to check for any type of little queen cell like that they might have started or start to draw out. I'm just going to push all those down. So they've been busy trying to make their own queen. So before I introduce this queen, I'm just going to go ahead. Just going to pinch those. Same thing here. This hive was busy making a lot of drones when we split them out. As you can see here, look at all the drones. Okay, so I'm just checking down inside, making sure I don't have any day-old eggs. And I don't see any day-old eggs. I see 3-day-old, and I see 2-day-old, which puts us right about the same time frame. So this is a pretty lean split. This is about 2 frames of bees. Sometimes we can get by with even leaner than that. But it doesn't take a whole lot of bees, just it's enough bees, some resources. I like making the splits with this cat brood because no matter how lean you make them, they just seem to keep making more and more bees as long as it's warm enough for the bees to keep that brood warm. If we were to make this too lean, we can't just drop this frame down into an empty box and then it get cold. There has to be enough heat generated in the box, which is also another reason I like using these medium frames. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set it on its side, and we're going to take the queen. So this is the queen here. There's no attendants on the inside, just the queen. So what we're going to do with these cages here is I'm just going to stick this right here. I'm just going to press it down into the wax, get it to stick, get it to bite just like that. And if we watch just a second, just give them a second, let's see what they do. Look how quick they go to her. Now that's a full candy plug on there. That would probably take about 4 to 5 days if there were both attendants on the inside and on the outside. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and put this back in here. And in about 2 days, I'm going to come back in and check, make sure that they're still loving on her. And if so, I'll probably have no problem at all just direct releasing her. So we're going to put all these frames back. I'm going to recenter that. All right, girls. Okay, now I'm going to flip my lid back over this way. I'm going to put my feeder back on. But while I'm here, I'm going to use the same marker of the year queen it is. So what I'm going to do is just make a blue dot and then put 5/18. And that'll let me know that I introduced that queen on the 18th. So on this box, we see that I introduced this queen on 5/16, so 2 days ago. Let's get in there and take a look. Okay, so I'm going to pull this frame off to the outside edge, which is probably not any activity on, easy to pull out. Put that fresh sheet off to the side. I'm just going to take a quick look, see if they're drawing any cells. This is that Premier Foundation that we just put that in there 2 days ago, and they've already started to draw it out and put nectar in it that quick. I'm really liking this Premier Foundation. I was really adamantly opposed to plastic, but I tell you, the more and more I use it, the more I really see the value and the opportunities with a good quality plastic foundation. And check out this side. They're really drawing this out quick. So I will take this little cell and we'll just press that down. It helps me next time when I'm in the hive. If you let those go, you kind of forget, well, how old is that cell? Sometimes you can see because the wax is fresh and there's certain things that can kind of clue you in, but I'd like to go ahead and just push those down every time I see them if I don't need them. That way I know if I see one the next time I'm in there, it was more recent. Okay, so here you can see the queen. And let's see here. They have almost got the candidate out. If you see, there's just a little tiny piece left. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just pull this out here. Look at that. That she would have been released today. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and direct release her. We're going to take our little cap off. There's a Bob Binnie Blue Ridge Queen being introduced here in Zanesville, Ohio at Nature's Image Farm. Okay, we're going to put her back down, let her get to work. Put our frames back together, gently push those against here. Center that box up. And we're going to put our lid on. Got my date. I knew when I installed her. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some feed on these later on today, but for now, we can use those same feeder plugs that we use in our buckets. We can use them to close off our hive lid, and we're good to go. What you'll see us later in the year is we'll be making splits, not with mated queens, but with capped queen cells. This lets us get our initial stock boosted really, really quick. The faster we can get a mated queen in earliest in the year, the larger those resources will be, which will help us as we get further in the year. When the nectar flow and the pollen and the resources start to dwindle, we can now rely on the resource hives to pull from to help boost up some of these smaller ones. So if we're dropping in queen cells between now and August, those resources will help us continue to build and kind of bolster up all of those splits so we can reach some kind of equilibrium in the hives as we go in and cruise into the fall time. We got a bunch of more hives to queen, but I hope that's helped give you some kind of idea on how you can make a split, make a conservative split. You've seen how we've done some of the lean ones using mated queens, and we'll check back later on in the year and we'll do some splits with some cap cells. We'll cut some cells. If we can get some equipment built, we could really go to town. There's already been opportunities to make probably a dozen splits just in the last 3 or 4 boxes that we've been in, but we're just out of equipment right now. So don't push it. We can only do so much. We'll let them build, grow more resources, and we can always split them later. So I hope that video helps. I want to thank you for watching. I also want to thank my buddy Bob Binnie for taking the time, having me down in his bee yard for an entire, almost a week, working with him and his crew, learning hands-on how to keep bees. And I want to thank him for these beautiful Southern Appalachian queens. I'm really looking forward to getting those drones and those queens mixed up with our genetics here at Nature's Image Farm. Thanks for watching, and remember, be the change that you want to see in this world. We'll see you next time. Hey, can you help us out? Hit like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and be sure to check these great videos out too.